My name is Rita Montgomery, and we are sitting here in the Inn at 213 17 Mile Drive in Pacific Grove, California. And I have the pleasure of having an interview with Dr. Hugh Len, and present with me also is Rick Moss, Dr. Rick Moss, and Marvin Greeno. We have some questions. I have some questions of Dr. Hugh Len. Please tell me, how do I pronounce your first name? Is it Haleakala? Is that right?
It's E-A-L-E-A-K-A-L-A. E-A-L-E-A-K-A-L-A.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to speak with you, especially about some of the ideas that you bring up in the book Zero Limits, written about you by Joe Vitale. And perhaps you could start out by explaining a little bit about this idea of 100% responsibility for oneself, and an entirely different idea of what the self is according to the system that you speak about.
Well, I think Shakespeare said it better than I. If you read Sonnet 146, Shakespeare says, "Poor soul." And so Shakespeare is saying the basic idea is that there are tragedies in our lives because we don't take a look at where the origin of the problem is, and it's always in self. So the tragedy being in life is that we're clueless and we repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And so when I work at, for example, when I worked at Hawaii State Hospital, working with people killed, raped, and murdered people, I had to ask the question, what is going on in me that I'm experiencing this? I'm experiencing a patient being violent, I'm experiencing staff going crazy, that sort of stuff. And so having to take 100% responsibility for that. What's going on in me that I'm creating this experience? And so I just do this cleaning, and the cleaning, the Hoponopono, is about going into the self, and specifically into the subconscious, and where the data is. And since everything is run by information, so the information in my subconscious is dictating to me what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. It's like in Shakespeare's Tempest, where Miranda says, "Oh, woe is me to see what I see." So Miranda has this insight that she's only seeing with data. And so it is with me, and so it is with all of you. And so I just work on the data in me that I experience as, quotes, the other person. So if I see you as being crazy and goofy, it's only my experience of you. If I erase that, you can't be that way. Not possible. And so that's what I mean to be 100% responsible. Being 100% responsible is taking responsibility for what is going on in you that you experience of whatever.
Could I ask you to clarify just a little point? You said, what is it in me that is experiencing this?
Yeah.
Could you clarify what you mean by experiencing? Do you mean perception?
No, I don't even mean that. I'm not. Perception is really a end product or consequence of data playing in the subconscious. So again, coming back to Miranda is saying, I only can see what I see because the data is seeing what I see. So Miranda is really speaking what Shakespeare says, the mind is just a stage, and the data runs around on the stage, and the data is really what is going on. And so if the data is such that I'm experiencing suffering, or I'm experiencing people being goofy, then I have to be responsible for that. What's going on in me, and it's simply data playing, and more specifically memories replaying in the subconscious. And those can be erased.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is probably the most profound thing about this Hoponopono, is that you could erase data.
Could you give us an example of what it feels like or looks like for data to be erased, or is that not something that can be done in this kind of setting?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Could you give us an example of cleaning? I mean, how do we erase the data within our own minds?
Well,
is that something that could be discussed?
Of course. You can teach it. Trees can do it. Cars can do it. Anybody can do it. But the idea is the most fundamental question one needs to know is the question, who am I? And most people have no idea about who they are, and therefore are not allow the data in them to speak for them, as opposed to choosing to not have the data by erasing it. And so it's coming back to great sages like Jesus. Jesus said, love your enemies, and your only enemy is the memory plane that you experience as a judgment, anger, resentment, hate, annoyance. And so the Hoponopono is about falling in love with the data and saying to the anger, I love it, saying to the memory that replays the anger, I love you, thank you for showing up, and give you one more chance to free you. And so the Hoponopono is just simply saying, I love you, thank you.
When the data is erased, what is the self that remains? Is it a unique self that is God created? Is it individuated, or is it just pure self?
So let me come back at you. So I would ask you, who's talking? Who's asking the question?
Well, that would be the data,
Yeah.
because the other part of me would know the answer to that.
Yeah, but I'm saying since the data is talking, you can erase the data. So I'm saying to people, no matter if you have questions, you'll never be able to get at what is going on, because the data is running you. And the idea is to get to we historically have come from this notion that you can decode things. So the Greeks come along, and Greeks said, well, let's examine, let's analyze. But the Hoponopono is not about examining or analyzing. Hoponopono is about letting go of the data. So when the data is erased, you are what Buddha called in the space of void, or what Shakespeare calls you're in the state of blank. And it is when you are in that state of emptiness, void, and blank, then this inspiration comes through. What quantum physics call the phantom force of nothing.
So it's a state of nothingness?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it's a state of nothingness that you're describing?
You have to really be careful, because one has to be as precise as possible.
No thought?
No, not no thought, no data plane. So what does that mean to have no data free? That means you're free. You're absolutely free with no data place. And it's only at freedom, or I'll use another word, clarity. Clarity is defined as no data plane. No data meaning no memory replaying in the subconscious that one experiences. So let's say you get the mind back to zero, is what Jesus called the stone or the foundation. And only on that foundation then can you build something. And then out of that foundation comes the inspiration. And so you are moved by perfect information, as opposed to being using dead information. Because most of the time we're dead. We without realizing, we're stuck in old data, and we're dead. And the Hoponopono is about releasing the death and the debt. So we basically have a mortgage on our souls, and we don't even know that. And we because we're not conscious of it, or not even aware of it, we're stuck in it, and we're just going to suffer. And it doesn't have to be so. But you can erase the data back to zero, and back at zero, out of nothing comes this phantom force of inspiration. New data, brand new.
There's so much of our operating in the world that depends upon language and thought. So when
only if you say so.
Okay.
So in other words, now we're stuck in that data, because you have said something that's just a story, and the data is telling you what to say, and you're stuck. And that means if you're stuck, I'm stuck.
Okay.
So
let me try to phrase it another way.
You cannot phrase it another way. There's no other way you can phrase that.
If you're in zero, let me try it another time. Can you be in zero state and have language?
You're going to be in zero state and have perfect, you're going to say whatever is perfect and right. And everything, in other words, let's say you're at zero, that means the whole world, the whole cosmos becomes zero. That means everything gets enlightened. So he gets enlightened, the chair gets enlightened. But they don't get enlightened from me. They get enlightened directly from the source. And so then the language is perfect. And it's a language in which you're not even aware. It's what the artists call inspiration. Like all of a sudden, Van Gogh or these great artists just do it. Well, how did you do it? I don't know. I just did it. Yeah. That's the language of love and art. Truth, beauty beyond comprehension. Yeah.
If one takes responsibility for everything and everyone,
everything that's going on in that person, yes,
then the idea of free will, that each has a will to choose or a decision or to choose for themselves how they want to grow, change, heal,
yeah.
That would not be a point that you would recognize. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on, again, we have to be really precise, so I'm going to come back and ask you.
Please.
So when you say free will, what does that mean?
To me, it means the right to choose against what is natural, the right to hold on to one's programming, the right to separate oneself in one mind from source.
See, what happens is that at any given moment, 11 million bits of information is playing, for which you are unconscious of.
Yes.
So it's driving you. So you don't have free will, but you have choice. The choice is, like Shakespeare is saying, to be or not to be free of the data. Mm-hmm. You have that choice, but the data is going to run you. The only question is, what data is going to run you? Is it going to be inspiration, or is it going to be memory, which is dead stuff? Mm-hmm. So that's the choice, but one doesn't have free will.
Can I approach the question differently, because it's not...
Yeah.
Let's talk about the people at Hawaii State Hospital.
Yeah.
By changing yourself, you change them because they are part of yourself. Is the language correct?
Well, I think what happens is like with you. Before I came here, I got the address, so I did the cleaning on the address. I did the cleaning on this camera and on your camera, because I don't know what he took before, and that will interfere with what's going on now. And so I'm taking 100% responsibility, because peace begins with me. So if I show up and I'm not peaceful, you can't be peaceful yourself. And so I'm only here because only for one purpose, and that is to make amends for whatever.
For whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know what that whatever is consciously, but there are parts of me that know what that is, and so my job is just to begin being 100% responsible by doing the cleaning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know what's getting cleaned up. I'm clueless.
When I get the impression that you make many of your decisions, your actions, based upon petitioning divinity to make a choice as to act in one way or to act in another way. Is that right?
Again, we're going to have to be really precise now.
Okay.
I do the cleaning. That's my job, to get back to zero. I want to be free.
Okay.
That's my only purpose for being on this planet is I got garbage, and which is mortgage on my soul, and I want to let go of the garbage so I can be free. And so at freedom, the information comes from the source.
Yeah.
But I won't even know it. I can't say, oh, I got the information. That's not my job. My job is just to keep cleaning nonstop and let it unfold however it's going to unfold, because 11 million inspirations coming in, I'm not even aware of that.
So what is cleaning like? Can you describe what your cleaning process is?
Yeah, cleaning is only saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me for whatever data is going on in me that I need to make amends for. Yeah.
And so if someone calls you up, like me, and says, would you come and speak with us?
Yeah.
So then what do you do?
I clean.
And then what happens?
Well, if I clean enough, then we go, oh, okay, it's okay to do it, and I do it.
Oh, okay.
If I clean and I don't get to do it, I won't do it. And there are and of yours, which I have not done because I don't get to do it, and I'm not making that decision. It's the intimation in me that's making the decision,
And
not me.
how do you know that?
I don't know that.
No, I mean, how do you know to come?
I don't know that. I just do it. And then it says go, and then I tell him it's okay. But I don't, it isn't like a process where you go, oh, I got it. It's something that has to be worked on and cleaned on, and then like a rose, it just begins to unfold, and at some point, because I've been doing this for, I don't know, almost 3 decades, I have it.
Sorry.
Can I ask a question to that point?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe it's possible, some people believe they can ask a question and get a yes or no answer. There's psychokinesiology, there's the use of pendulums, things of that nature, that allow one to perceive that they're receiving an answer. Do you believe that that's possible?
Well, but I want to come back at you again.
Please.
For me, the reason I'm here is only for the purpose of cleaning. Okay, I'm clear about that. And so, the purpose of the cleaning is to free up the data. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about. If I were to use a pendulum, I would make sure that I would be data free, and then I would ask. Yeah. But the pendulum, if you're not at zero, you'll get funny answers.
Based upon your own scripts and your ideas.
I like that, but I would be more precise, based on memories, data in a computer bank. Yeah. Yeah.
And so how would you suggest that people begin the enterprise of cleaning?
I don't even do that. I just do the cleaning myself, and if people want to learn it, they show up. Yeah, like you.
Here I am.
Yeah. So
Well,
For example, in years ago, I had somebody say to me, "Convince me that I should take this class," and I said, "We don't do any marketing. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a decision, a choice that you have to make on your own. I'm not here to make any money. If I was here to make money, I'm in the wrong business." Yeah.
I've been doing marketing for you up and down the coast.
I see.
Just because I knew it was such a wonderful opportunity for people to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what the cleaning process is like on an experiential level.
Well, again, you have data. Data I may experience the data as I don't like you. Okay, let's say the data says in my mind I'm going, oh my God, and I have to put up with this bullshit stuff.
Right.
Blah, 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 and I go, oh, I get to clean with that.
Right.
What's going on in me?
Right.
And I didn't know I had it.
Right.
So I can say to that data in me, I love you. Thank you for giving me one more chance to let you go so that I can be free.
Right.
So the Hoponopono is about saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then I'm sorry, please forgive me can be said a different way. I love you, thank you, blueberries, M&Ms, the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah. But the notion is that it's my responsibility, totally. So it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're talking to not the person, but to
I'm talking to myself.
Yourself.
Yeah. Specifically, I'm talking to this inner child in me who is suffering because I'm holding on. So the Hoponopono is, you're asking questions, but it's an engagement process. Like you say, you're trying to wrap yourself around it. The Hoponopono is about letting go.
Right.
It's just let go, boom, the data goes, and all of a sudden you get inspiration to do something it never came out for you to do.
Right.
Yeah.
In the introduction to Zero Limits, Joe Vitale talks about programs that go back to the beginning of existence.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little more about that?
Yeah. When coming back again to Shakespeare, and when we were initially created at the beginning, we were nothing, blank, no data, perfect in every way. Didn't have to think, didn't have to make money, didn't have to do any of this sort of stuff. So no data playing. And then out of that no data, which is what Buddha called void, up comes this, what Buddha called enlightenment, which is the source of the light. And then that source of the light decided, and I don't know why and how come, and I'm not interested, decided to create each one of us. And created each one of us infinitely zero. So that's how we began. And so what does it mean to be infinitely zero? It means we experience heaven on earth, nirvana, art, beauty, love, until something came along and it brought darkness.